An official presentation will be at our next regular council meeting on the 23rd. We have some advertising requirements, and they will take place prior to receiving the budget. Now, as we all know, a budget is a compilation of estimated revenues and expenditures. And just because it is budgeted doesn't have to be spent. If you have an expenditure, it still has to be approved by the city manager and mayor. With that lead-in, you have in your packet some of the budget to actual figures, and that was passed out. And you will note that when you look at that, it's 9 months. So the expenditures should be at 75%. There's only one fund, the water and sewer fund, that is over budget. So I say that as a lead-in to this budget workshop to say that the department heads and staff do an awful good job of staying within the budget and keeping their expenditures down. They again realize just because it's budgeted doesn't mean it has to be spent. The fiscal year 29 budget that you have before you is balanced without a tax increase. By that I mean that we have used the same amount of money. By that I mean we have used the same amount of revenue for property taxes that we received in 2018. That being $492,329.15. This should equate to the rollback rate. However, before the tax digest comes out, we don't know what the rollback rate. So as I said, when you see the budget on July the 23rd, there may be some minor revisions. As I alluded to earlier, you will note in the proposed budget on page 23 that the general fund is subsidizing the water and sewer fund in the approximate amount of $165,000. You will remember that on December the 11th, 2017, the City Council rejected the fiscal year 2017 water and wastewater rate study due to water loss or leakage. This year, we hope to remedy our water loss with a water leak detection survey, which is an item to consider in our regular meeting agenda for tonight. Other highlights of the proposed budget are a 2% cost of living allowance for all employees, a 3% retirement contribution for all employees. We have budgeted FICA taxes at 6.2% of salaries, as well as Medicare at 1.145% of salaries. Now that may fluctuate. Like I say, there may be some minor revisions, but that's what we are estimating. We have also included a $1,000 benefit bank contribution for all new hires. Group insurance, which is health, dental, and life, is budgeted at $9,375 per employee. Quite a substantial amount, and we need to make our employees aware of that benefit. But that's what we're estimating. Also, we are estimating that workers' compensation insurance will increase 10% over our 2018 actual numbers. One thing that is unsettled, but we have budgeted for, is a school resource officer. Now, you know, prior to this year, we have not had a school resource officer budgeted. Dr. Barker came out and said that every school will have a school resource officer. Grantville Elementary had a part-time school resource officer from the Quita County Sheriff's Office. That officer rotated among a couple schools. This year, we will have a full-time school resource officer at Grantville Elementary School. Now, we're still in negotiations who is going to pay what. And I make no bones about that. It's certainly subject to negotiation about the operating costs and the capital costs. When we talk about capital costs, we're talking about a vehicle and all of its accoutrements, which can be pricey. I will have more information on that, and I will have the issue resolved before the school system and the city of Grantville by the 23rd of July. Dr. Barker and I have talked. We have some more conversation coming about either tomorrow or Wednesday. Lastly, you will note in our budget, we have budgeted for vehicles in both the general fund and utility funds. There's some controversy about budgeting for vehicles. However, from a management perspective, vehicles are an operating expense, and therefore to have an accurate operating budget, they should be budgeted. Now, they can be paid by other funds. However, for a true budget, you budget your operating expenses. One cardinal rule of budgeting is that you never pay for recurring expenses with non-recurring revenue. You always budget your recurring expenses. So with that, and the presence of Mr. Mills, our financial analyst, we would be happy to entertain any questions. I know it's hit you kind of cold because you're just looking at it now. You can save your questions, email them to us, or call us on the phone. We'll be happy to address them. And we will be ready on July the 23rd, once the tax digest comes out, to address everything.
Mr. Appreciate it. What other funds can police cars be paid out of?
You can use SPLOST funds. You can use seized funds and operating funds.
So, okay, so seized money can be used for training as well?
Yes, ma'am. As long as it's specific to the police department. The only thing that seized funds have a prohibition about are salaries and benefits. As I said, just because something is budgeted, the expenditure still has to be approved.
Once your conversation with Dr. Barker is completed, if you will, have the decision been made who the resource officer at Glanton will be?
I am not aware of that. That is up to the police department, ma'am. I think we're sort of waiting till we know what our financial deficit or resource, or as I explained to Dr. Barker, we don't have unlimited funds. So we will know very soon.
Yes, okay.
And I will admit, Dr. Barker has been very cooperative and very understandable, that we have never budgeted for a school resource officer. And of course, the school resource officer will be in place in August and September. So that impacts the 2018 budget, for which there is zero budgeted.
Ms. Revere,
Yes, this is just, this is not just, you can just talk.
well, that's great, that's what we all wanted anyway. What, is there anybody else in our boat when it comes to the school resource officer? Is there any other cities in the county? I know Sonoy doesn't have a school.
Correct.
So are we kind of on our own here with this negotiation?
We are.
Good, hey, you get after it.
Well, as you saw,
You're a good one to have on our side. I'm just saying, I didn't know if there was, I don't know, I'm.
Well, as you saw in my email, what position I took, that we have not budgeted for this. Very simple.
Well, I know it was kind of just thrown on us really, but I'm in a way, I think if I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, I'm kind of excited about this because, well, I'm glad our police department is taking care of our school.
Well, absolutely, and they will. Now, when I said no one else is in our boat, let me qualify that by saying of the 14 new school resources officer, the city of Newnan and Coweta County Sheriff's Office gets 13 of them. We only have one. But in their budget, they have already budgeted for school resource officers. For us, it's virgin territory. So what we're trying to say to the school system is financial assistance is requested because of that. We are the only one who never had a line item for a school resource officer. Now this means there will be a change in the table of the organization for the police department. Instead of 12 sworn officers, they will have 13, because that school resource officer duty station, so to speak, will be at Glanton Elementary. And they will need a car suitably equipped so that they can transport if necessary. Now, if that officer is sick or for some other reason cannot attend to their duties, we will replace them with another sworn officer, which will impact Chief Whitlock and the police department, because somewhere he's going to be short an officer for that time. We're hoping the school resource officer takes vacation only when the school is not in session and stay healthy. And for that we thank Metaford So if there is a problem, they can get care early on, not having to go to Noonan and lose time out. By the way, today is the first day Metaphor Express Care Walk-In Clinic is open. It'll save us in the city time because, for an example, just like I told the Noonan Times-Herald, when our code enforcement officer was bitten by a kitten and 2 days later developed a rash and a red streak up his arm, we had to send him to Noonan to Summit, which lost a half a day. With Metaphor, we could have sent him there and maybe lost a half a day at most. So,
Wait, did he get open today?
as far as I know,
I
that was
meant to
the
go by there and
target
check.
day.
He didn't make, you know, that's interesting. I made a stupid mistake and stuck a knife in my arm to the bone 10 days ago. 11 days, it did. And I probably wouldn't even went to town, but I thought, well, you know, I know the knife hit the bone. I felt it. So, you know, I got in my truck and where I went to his clinic. And they were just painting walls in there. And I thought, well, after that, I really made a big mistake. I went to the VA. I should have just sewed it up myself. I had to say that. I'm still irritated about that. They actually scolded me for coming there, said I should have went to the emergency room. Well, I don't have no insurance, I ain't gonna go to the emergency room. But anyway, I'd let our new clinic sew it up if he'd have been there.
Yes, he would have. And it wouldn't have been cross-stitching either.
I don't think so. I've heard good things about him. I know a lot of people, since he's been here at our last meeting, I've met a lot of people that know him and that he's really well thought of.
We have any more discussion on the budget?
I have a quick question about the SRO and the impact of time and things like that. In an ideal situation, this employee would take their vacation during the summer months. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And for applicable holidays and things like that that the school system observes, would they be required then also to use their time and things like that? I know I'm asking a question about the budget, I guess, and they're accruing time at a regular rate, taking the regular rates.
Their holidays would coincide with the school systems. However, if they were not an authorized holiday of the city of Grantville,
Right, it would be
they would either take a vacation day, a sick day, if they're sick, or report for duty with Chief Whitlock.
So like when they're out for Christmas break, it'd be on their time, or either work.
Either their time or work. And certainly it would help out the police department in that respect. I will point out one of the big things in the contract is that it's a 40-hour work week for them. Any requirement by the school system for them to attend other events would be overtime paid for by the school system. That was the big thing that the Coweta County Sheriff's Office and the city of Noonan got hit with. The school system saying, we have an athletic event, we want you there. At that time, it becomes overtime, and the City of Newnan and Coweta County Sheriff's Office was picking up that overtime. With the new contract as proposed, and I have not heard any deviations from it, the school system will be responsible for all overtime that is requested by the school system. Substantial savings for them. With an elementary school, you don't have much of that, but with middle school and high school, you have the athletic events, you have the dances. Anytime that school is open, they wanted a school resource officer there. There are no questions about the budget. I'd be happy to entertain any questions about the agenda. Let's see, we have an auspicious group there. And we'll be happy to help you with the agenda. I just think it's important that when you look at the financial revenue and expenditure statement that's in your agenda packet, and you look through there, you see that our department heads and employees have done a great job of staying below 75% of expenditures. They have really picked up the mantle of saving money. And we have done that even though we have had more activity in the city of Grantville this year than in previous years. And again, that's a compliment to the Grantville Police Department and their organizational skills.
Now, speaking of the agenda, the water and the car washing the water ordinance is this. Where'd that come from? Can you explain it?
Sure. The wastewater resolution and the car wash ordinance came from the Atlanta Regional Commission Metropolitan Water District, of which we are a member. And they send us things like a survey and say, have you adopted these ordinance and resolutions? And although they may not apply to the city of Grantville, they still want us to have them in place.
So they suggested it more?
They suggested it, and our city attorney took them, prepared them. There are other ones, like a pre-treatment ordinance for fats. They want something of that in place. We have no industry or commercial establishment that has to pre-treat their wastewater. But still, they want you to be prepared, so to speak, in case that ever occurs. It's a group of individuals that look out to make sure that everything is covered. And you get audited on it. And I will compliment our city engineer for staying on top of it. It's interesting to note, you mentioned that, since I have been here, we have not been penalized in any respect for not meeting our water and wastewater quality standards. There was one incident in June of 2017 as we were changing contractors where there was a high reading, but we have dealt with that. Our regulatory compliance has been quite good, both in gas, water, and wastewater. You remember we did have that spill at the land application storage pond. And because the Public Works Department did yeoman work after we discovered the spill on Thursday, they did yeoman work on Friday to stop the spill. We have not been penalized for it. We did a lot of work that EPA asked us to do, and we were more than willing to do, which we have done. You remember we cleaned the land application storage pond of all the sludge and residue that had accumulated for some 15 years. We cleared and grubbed the area. We refurbished the pump house. Let's see what else we got. I can't remember anything else off the top of my head, but the lady that was out there.
Was this the same situation that was like $50,000? Is that the same thing or something different?
No, ma'am, we paid $58,000 to Mitchell Septic for cleaning out the sludge. What we saved in that was the disposal costs of the sludge, because in concert with Environmental Management Services, our contractor for wastewater operations and maintenance, we recirculated the sludge from our polishing pond to our land application storage pond and released it through our land application system. And that saved us quite a bit of money, since the lowest cost of a contractor, and I may be wrong on this, but it was either $90,000 or $100,000. So, and that's.
Anything else we'd like to discuss? We have 1 minute.
I have one question I would like to ask.
Can you ask it in a minute?
It's shorter than that.
Okay.
Are we required to have a resource officer at Gulf Elementary by law?
I'd have to defer to the school system. I do not know.
Thank you.
I think that is a policy decision of the school system.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
And Mr. Sarge.
Thank you.
All right, we're out of open work section, and we are. It is 6:30, July 9th, 2018, and we open our city council meeting. And we would like for this time, at this time, to ask Mr. Mowry if you will lead us in the invocation, take us to the throne of grace, after which please remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Let's go for it.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, bless us with, Father. We thank you for blessing the town, blessing the whole town, Father. We pray for your presence this meeting tonight, Father. We pray we can feel your presence. We pray for your guidance, Father. We pray for we look to you for guidance in our decisions. We pray for God, our mayor, our city council, our city manager, our city attorney, Father. Bless each one that came this way this evening. Bless their families, their homes. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first order of business will be the approval of our agenda. Mr. Key has made the motion. We'll have a second.
Second.
Mr. King has seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Our second order of business is approval of minutes, the regular minutes, meetings minutes, June 11, 2018. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Mr. King has made the motion to approve. Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Waycaser has seconded the motion. Our old business consists.
Vote.
You need to take a vote.
Oh, yeah, all in favor of, excuse me, this is Mayor Jewell's job, so I'm filling in for him. All in favor of the minutes being approved?
Aye.
All right, thank you for the correction. Under old business, our first item is special event permit for Murchison Automotive. Mr. Rishaber?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Mr. Murchison is with us here tonight. Prior to this meeting, it came before us and we tabled it for more information, and his lovely wife was kind enough to give us a flyer, which we have in the agenda packet, of what's going to take place on August the 25th, 2018, which is a Saturday at 55 Griffin Street. There'll be a barbecue, a bouncy house, a dunk tank, cotton candy, snow cones, and a water slide from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we recommend approval.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of our manager. What are your wishes?
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Key has made a motion to approve. We have a second.
Second.
Mr. King has seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Our second item, a second reading of ordinance number 2018-2, amending section 41-2 of the Code of Ordinances to prohibit truck travel on certain city streets for any purpose, and to provide for a list and map of truck routes to be kept on file by the city clerk and police department. Mr. Rishaber.
I will defer to the city attorney, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, this is the second reading of the ordinance. It was presented at your last meeting to address the issue of truck travel, particularly on Main Street, to try to alleviate further problems with trucks getting stuck on the railroad track there. This does amend the truck route and specifically prohibit truck travel on Main Street. And this would be the second reading of the ordinance, and it would go into effect if council took that action tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. You've heard Mr. Mitchell. What are your desires? Do you have a motion to accept the second reading of ordinance number 2018-2?
I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Key has made a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
And I'll second it.
Mr. King has seconded that motion. Do we have discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Let me hear the word aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None opposed. That concludes our old business. Our new business, first item is special event permit, market day, August 18, 2018. Mr. Reshaver.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And prior to introducing this item, I will say that we have signs for the truck route, and we will start putting them up tomorrow. Now, this special event permit for Market Day, August 18th, and we're happy to see this. Of course, this follows our previous Market Day, and we recommend approval based on the success, the orderliness, and the wonderful event the first Market Day was. So we recommend approval of the special event permit for the Grantville Exchange Market Day on August the 18th, 2018, for the event being from 10 to 2.
You have heard the insight from our manager. May we have a motion?
Move that we accept the proposal for the Grantville Market Day on Grant Street.
Mr. King has made a motion to, for us to permit the Market Day event on the 18th. We will have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Waycaser has seconded that motion. Do we have discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Our second item under new business, the first reading of the car wash ordinance number 2018-03. Mr. Reshaver.
Again, ma'am, I'll defer to the city attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. As was mentioned briefly in your work session, this is an ordinance that we're being required to adopt by the North Metro Water, what is it, North Metro
Regional
Water Board,
Authority.
that oversees issues dealing with water management in the North Georgia metro area. And they are requiring that we adopt this ordinance even though the city currently has no commercial car wash facility. This is an ordinance that they require to be in place that would require, if one is constructed at any point in the future, that it would be required to have a recycled water system that would recycle a minimum of 50% of the water used in the car wash process. This specifically does not apply to self-service car washes or in-bay car washes, but rather it's the more the automatic conveyor type car wash that it would apply to. This would be is being presented as an ordinance. So this tonight is presented for first reading and no action is required. But I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right. Since no action is required, anyone, you have any questions?
This is just an information question. Is that North Metro Water Authority, is that all of North Georgia, or is it just the 13 metropolitan counties?
13, I believe it's 15 metropolitan counties, of which we are the southernmost.
Any more questions? Our third item under new business, the approval of resolution number 2018-5 for the city of Grantville, Georgia, to implement a policy to address the waste of water and for other purposes.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem and Council, this is another requirement of the same entity. This is being presented to you not as as an ordinance, but rather as a resolution. So if you took action tonight, it would become effective immediately. This is this resolution would implement a policy that would allow the city to disconnect someone's water service if that person was found to be wasting water. That is, and there are specific examples set out in the policy of what water waste would be, such as allowing water to escape from any premises onto public right-of-way, such as streets and sidewalks, or upon any other person's property, operating an irrigation system or other lawn or landscape watering device during rain, operating a lawn irrigation system or other lawn or landscaping watering device that has any broken or missing sprinkler heads, failing to repair a controllable leak, including a broken sprinkler head or leaking valve or leaking outdoor faucet or service line leak, or other visible outside water leak within 30 days, washing any vehicle with a hose and not having a water shutoff nozzle, or allowing water to run continuously from a hose while washing any vehicle is also prohibited. So if the city were to observe any of these specific instances of water being wasted, then the city would be capable and allowed under this policy to disconnect that person or cut off that person's water service until they made whatever repair might be necessary so that the water waste would not continue, and then that individual would be subject to whatever fees would be required anytime someone's water is disconnected. So again, this is an effort to reduce water waste and to put some teeth behind the policy of prohibiting certain specific examples of wasting of water.
I will point out for the Mayor Pro Tem and council members, whenever we detect high water usage, we go to see the occupant and discuss with them their high water usage, and normally we get a good response, and they're very cooperative because they have to pay for the water being used.
All right, thank you. So at this point, gentlemen, what would you like? Would you like to postpone this and have a committee meeting so citizens can come and give insight, or do you want to vote on it tonight?
Was this the first reading?
This is a resolution.
This is a resolution that this is presented, so if you took action tonight, it would become effective immediately.
Did you write this, Mark, or was this just
This
the ordinance that was passed down?
This is suggested language from the North Georgia.
Metropolitan Water District.
Right. And again, it's not being put in place because of any specific observation of this being a particular problem in the city. It's just something that they are requiring all agencies within their area that have a water utility to adopt this policy.
Well, what do you all think about a committee meeting? You want to vote on the resolution tonight, or you want to have a committee meeting and get citizen input, since they're the one using the water?
Ma'am, Mayor Pro Tem,
You don't,
I certainly have no challenge with citizens addressing it. However, the Metropolitan Water District isn't going to change what they feel is a blanket policy for all the entities. We don't have a problem with it in the city, as again, we address all our high water usage immediately. So I recommend that we adopt it.
And I understand what you're saying, but I have found that once, and I know whatever's the law and what is required, we have to do that. But I also believe that we need to let citizens who have a desire to do so come and voice their concern. So, with all being said, what would you like to do? Can I get a motion to approve or disapprove? Resolution 2018-5 for the City of Grantville, Georgia to implement a policy to address the waste of water and other purposes.
You know, I do have a discussion on that,
But we need to get a motion and a second and then discuss.
Oh,
All
okay,
right, so do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve to get into discussion.
yeah, I'll second that.
All right, Mr. Key has made the motion, so if Mr. King seconded, Wade Casey. All right, discussion.
You know, being that we are on the southern tip of metropolitan Atlanta, you know, everything applies to construction and erosion and sedimentation. And I almost, and I'm not asking to change, I just wish the city had a little to say that if in need, somebody needed some excess water for agricultural use, that could be approved.
That would be, that would be.
That's been
approved.
an issue in the county in the past, and that's the only reason I bring this up is that, you know, I don't wanna, you know, see agriculture penalized.
And I don't think that's the intent of this, and there's
No, I
specifically.
agree, it's not, I just wanted to.
And there are some specific exceptions that are set out in here. One of, for instance, water applied as a dust control measure.
Well, see, that's all based on construction, and I ain't against approving the thing, I'm just saying that we are down here in an area that is a little bit.
And again, this goes to addressing issues of waste of water, not legitimate use of water for agricultural purposes or other necessary uses. This addresses a situation where water is just being, recklessly wasted by someone.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? No one else?
My major concern with this whole thing is the city of Grantville itself is wasting 35% of its water. Is this going to affect us?
You mean through the loss of water?
Through the loss of water that...
No, sir, this would not affect that or apply to that situation, and I think there's a recommendation later on your agenda to address that, but I don't think that would not apply to any of the specific prohibitions set out in here.
Because this has to do basically with a drought situation, a water restriction situation that the state would impose.
Well, again, it has to do with a situation where someone is just recklessly wasting water. They've just got, a sprinkler head that's broken and water's just running down the street and continues to run for days and they're not doing anything to address it. This gives you some ability to go to that person and say, listen, you've either got to fix that or we're going to cut your water off.
Any more discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
All right. All in favor of approval of resolution 2018-05 for the city of Grantville, Georgia to implement a policy to address the waste of water and for other purposes? All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All right, next item, is number 4, disapproval of promotion of Corporal William Faulkner to Sergeant and the revised organizational structure of the Grantville Police Department. Mr. Reshaver?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem, thank you very much. Right now, the organizational structure of the Grantville Police Department has 2 sergeant billets. The chief of police is recommending that Corporal Faulkner be promoted to sergeant, and he would head the traffic division of the Grantville Police Department and assist in other supervisory duties as a sergeant. It's hard to read the initial letter, but basically he would also fill in as a shift supervisor as necessary, but because their present table of organization only has 2 sergeants, and this would be a 3rd sergeant, we thought it'd be appropriate to bring it to the city council for their approval or disapproval. I think it goes without saying, and Chief is here, that Corporal Faulkner has done an exceedingly outstanding job, both as an intern supervisor when he's called upon to manage a shift, and as an officer on the street handling traffic. So, we recommend approval. The chief is here. I'm sure if there's any questions, he would be kind enough to address them.
You have heard the insight from our manager. So we get a motion to approve or disapprove.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Key has made a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. King has made a motion to, and second the motion. Or do we have discussion?
Mr. City Manager, has along with the promotion from corporal to sergeant would come a step raise, I would believe? And has that been factored into the upcoming city budget?
Yes, sir, it has.
Okay.
Preliminarily. Tentatively.
Tentatively.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the promotion of Corporal William Faulkner to sergeant and the revised organization structure of the Grantville Police Department, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Our 5th item under new business is discussion, decision on the prospective CDBG project for infrastructure improvement. That is water, sewage, stormwater, and roads on Meriwether Street. Mr. Grishaber.
Yes, ma'am, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. Because we have our financial house in order, we now have the ability to apply for CDBG grants, which are Community Development Block Grants. There are certain requirements of CDBG grants, and one of them is that we help out or assist low and moderate income individuals to raise their quality of life. We are looking at a prospective project on Meriwether Street that would go from State Route 14 or Highway 29 on Meriwether Street to the county line. And in that regard, we would have a grant writing consultant, and we'd also have engineering consultants to assist a competitive grant. We have looked at the city of Grantville, and we feel this is the area where we can be the most competitive for the CDBG funds, and that's on Meriwether Street. And we also think that it is a good project that Meriwether Street needs to have water, both for water distribution and fire protection, sewer, stormwater, and road improvements. This basically is an infrastructure grant. Presently, they are serviced with a 2-inch line, water line. We would be using a 6-inch water main, both for water distribution and fire protection. We think it would enhance the quality of life of everyone on Meriwether Street, and we recommend approval not only of the project, but of Alan Smith Consulting for grant writing, administration, and other grant services, along with Turpin Seed Engineers for engineering, planning, preliminary reports, and construction management.
Thank you, Mr. Grishaber. Now, you heard Mr. Grishaber's short sermonette. So what are your, can we get a motion to approve this CDBG project for infrastructure on Meriwether Street?
I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Key has made a motion. We got a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Waycasey has seconded.
May I ask, Mayor Pro Tem, is that also approval of Alan Smith Consulting for
Yes.
grant writing, administration, and related grant services?
It is. It's all a part of your small sermonette.
Thank you.
All right.
Now, we do have a discussion now, right?
I'm getting ready to ask for it.
I'm sorry.
Now, is there a discussion concerning these items?
I just have, the Alan Smith Consulting is going to consult the grant writers that we already have.
No, sir. Allen Consulting will do the grant writing. They are very experienced in grant writing. In fact, I attended the 2017 grant writing seminar held by the Department of Community Affairs, which was for the 2018 CDBG program, which applications had to be in April. And at that time, I asked Alan Smith Consulting if they would help the city of Grantville out. And I got a very terse answer. No, it's too short a time frame. That was for the 2018. This is for the 2019 CDBG cycle. I was very impressed when they told me that it was too short a time frame for them to work on a grant application, because their reputation of success depended on them having a sufficient amount of time to prepare the grant. So what I had to do is send out the request for proposals to 7 grant writing firms and 10 engineering firms, and we received responses from 2 grant writing firms, one of which was Alan Smith Consulting, and we received responses from 3 engineering firms, one of which was Turpin Seed Engineering, and we looked at them all and thought that Turnip Seed Engineers had the best proposal based on their project experience and fee proposal. And with Alan Smith, we based our selection of them on their superior project experience talking with other city managers and everyone, they basically told me that Alan Smith is one of the best, if not the best, at getting the requisite paperwork in a timely manner.
I don't wanna rock the boat on it, I was just curious why come we didn't use our grant writing service that we already got.
He is not experienced in CDBG grants.
I thought that was gonna be.
CDBG grants are a particular animal. I would not use Alan Smith Consulting on a historic preservation grant. They are specific to CDBG grants.
Now I got another question. What happens to the citizens that were the city limits in and they're on Marywood Street? I have to be honest, I don't even know how many more people live down there, but couldn't we call them Grantvillians? I mean, you know what I'm saying, that their way home and out is, that they live here. Could we sister partner with Meriwether County somehow or another to finish that project all the way down? That's my question. Is Meriwether County being contacted, or could we?
Yeah, Meriwether County, Theron Gay, I talked with him originally about this project, and frankly, he talked with his commissioners and didn't get a warm and fuzzy that they were willing to commit the resources. Another thing that hurts them, if they join with the city of Grantville on a joint application, that's one less application they can make for CDBG grants. So,
But you see what I'm thinking, it would be sure nice to finish that, you know?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I think once we have our infrastructure in place, it may assist Meriwether County about coming aboard once we have the capability to assist them with water.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't.
Yeah. Now, is this splash fund money will pay for this, or does it come out of our?
No, sir. This is specifically grant money.
Okay.
This is all grant money.
So, Mr. Grishaber, how much is Alan Smith, how much does this consulting firm charge for grant writing? Did he give you
6%, I believe, of the total grant. And in the grant, it may be 7%, ma'am. In the grant, let's just say it'll be $100,000. In there, they will specify so much can be used for administrative costs. That's what they would get. This is subject to all state contracting agreements and things like that. They're set fees. Their monies come right from the grant.
So if they don't get the grant, they don't make any money.
Correct.
Can't go wrong there.
Now, this is all, got to get the grant. I think if I can just leap here to the request for proposals. It says, if community development block grants funds are awarded, this procurement action may also lead to additional project contracts or contract addendums for planning, administration, and other related services. So it's if the funds are awarded.
any more discussion? Our last item on our agenda is discussion on water. Oh, excuse me, I don't know. All in favor of discussion, the prospective CDBG project grant, all in favor? I thought we voted. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, as the mayor would say, that's my bag. Last item is discussion on water leak detection survey for the city of Grantville and approval to contract with Heathcote and Davis Incorporated to conduct the water leak detection survey. Mr. Riche.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. On December the 11th, 2017, the mayor and city councils discussed the fiscal year 2017 water and wastewater rate study. The city council decided not to raise water and wastewater rates and directed the city manager to address the water leakage issue. In order to address the issue, we first looked at the amount of metered water purchased versus the amount of metered water sold for a period of 6 months, November the 1st, 2017 through April the 30th, 2018. We purchased from Coweta County metered water 43,801,290 gallons. Of metered water sales to Grant Water customers was 26,832,939 gallons. The water loss in terms of metered water purchases by metered water sales was 38.739%. In other words, the city of Grantville only sold approximately 61% of the water it purchased from Coweta County. So, to further refine the water leakage issue, on May the 10th, 2018, the city of Grantville published a request for proposals for a water leak detection survey. We received 3 responses: Heathcote and Davis Inc., M.E. Simpson Company Inc., and Wax Water Services. We recommend entering into a contract with Heathcote and Davis Inc. to conduct the water leak detection survey. While their proposal was responsive and responsible and had the lowest fee for a water leak detection survey, it also contained a fee for project oversight, pay request, reviewing the final report presented by Matchpoint, which is the water leak survey contractor, and making recommendations concerning projects to reduce water loss for the long term. 2 licensed professional engineers will serve as technical quality review coordinators. These 2 individuals provide an umbrella over the city of Grantville team and thus maximize the opportunity for a successful project. The total fee for the water leak detection survey is $16,500. In the committee's view, the Heathcote and Davis proposal represents the best value to the city of Grantville. Monies are available in the 2007-2012 SPLOST fund allocated to utilities to pay the contract cost of $16,500. Basically, we do not have the expertise in-house to supervise Matchpoint doing this survey. I have reviewed the 2 surveys, or the 2 locations where Matchpoint has done their surveys. Among others, they've done over 1,000 of them, and they appear to be very professional in their mythology, and Heathcote and Davis recommended them. So I think the Heathcote and Davis proposal represents the best value to the city of Grantville. And as I said, we have monies available in SPOS funds 2007, 2012 that are unused to pay the contract cost of $16,500, and we recommend approval.
Gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of our manager. Can we get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve it.
Mr. Waycase made a motion. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. King. Are there discussion? Do we have any discussion? If not, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. That concludes our agenda item. We have citizen comments. Do we have any? Mrs. Cody. Mrs. Cody. Pardon me?
It's on their it was on their packet. In their packet.
I thought you'd forgotten about me. I was planning to come back next time. My name is Selma Cody. I live at 214 West Grantville Road. I am here on behalf of the Grantville Coalition of Concerned Citizens, which has now disbanded. I say that with a great deal of disappointment, but at the same time, I'm very proud of the things that we did accomplish. And the reason why the organization was formed, we were going through, at that time, our city was going through some really challenging issues. I think there was several things having to do with a member of the city council. Also, race problems. You all couldn't get anything done. And the Grantville Coalition stepped up and represented the citizens, and I think we were able to get several things accomplished. However, everything has its life, and we have now come to an end, but we can always come back. To that end, let me just say that according to our bylaws, we are required to donate any remaining funds in the Treasury to the Recreation Department. So we had $51.91 left, and I would like that to be added to the budget for next year and let the city make a decision as to what they want to do with it, of course. But we appreciate everything that the city has done. We appreciate the support of the community. And so I will give this to Ms. Hines.
Thank you, Mrs. Cody. And I will pass it on to our city manager.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
City council comments. Mr. Waycase.
Well, you know, we got a nice crowd here. I'd just like to thank you for that. And I'm kind of excited about Corporal Faulkner's promotion. And I'm excited. We've already talked about this, that our new walk-in clinic didn't get open, but I want to remind everybody to support that. And, you know, I guess it's still stuck in my head because it's the last thing on the agenda, but I'm kind of excited to see what they find out with the water detection survey. I'd like to know. You know, you get looking at those numbers, and that's really a lot of water going somewhere. So, anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. King?
I'd like to also thank everyone for coming. It's nice to see a lot of new faces and a lot of familiar faces out here. The city of Grantville is going to get on top of that water leak. We're going to find them, we're going to eliminate them, and it's going to get costly, but it's something that we cannot just keep throwing 40% of our water away every month. Every month. So, nice to see some things coming. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the police chief, his lieutenant, and everybody who helped out with the 4th of July celebration that we enjoyed. And I say enjoyed because everybody who was there, and even folks that weren't there, enjoyed it. It's something that the city can give back to its people, and something that they're well deserving of. So thank you to the police department, to the churches, to the individuals who helped out, to everyone involved with that. Very nice to live in this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Keith?
Thank you all for coming out. I'll have to echo Mr. King and say, Chief, kudos to the team that you got together of your officers, as well as the citizens that came together. Every time there was a meeting, I was at the fire station. So I don't know if that was planned on purpose or, but it was, I can't even say for the first year it was good. Like, it was just good if it would have been the 10th year. It was really good, and I don't know a tally or a count. Do you have an idea of how many people were here?
Well, what everybody's talking, I think it's roughly around about 2,000 people. It turned out really good because downtown we had a group there. When we went to golf, there was another group there too.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was unreal. And again, I want to thank everybody that helped us with this, because not one person could do this. It took teamwork. And like Mr. King said, it was a great team we had going there, and I couldn't ask for anything better. And so far, with the Fall Festival, Christmas, the Easter, we've got the support from the city that's unreal, and we just appreciate everything everybody does.
Well, we appreciate you, Chief.
Thank you.
But again, thank you all for coming out, and as always, I'm available. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you want to answer any questions or be of assistance in any way. And thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you, Mr. Key. I would just, and this is for the record, Ms. Lynn. First, I want to say blessings to all citizens who are present with us this evening. Thank you for your interest in our great grand lighthouse city. I want to say, on June the 22nd through June the 25th, I attended the GMA convention in Savannah. I want to thank all the taxpayers, including myself, for allowing me to attend this GMA Educational Learning Convention. I noticed on Facebook that there were some comments about family members going. I was a guest at Holiday Inn on Bryan Street, room 222, telephone number 912-790-1000. There were 3 people in my room, 2 men, Jesus and JD, and 1 female, Ruby. My daughter, who drove us to Savannah, room number was 229, and she has paid receipts for her stay. Now, these are the classes that I chose to take. On Friday, June the 22nd, Municipal Water and Wastewater System from 2 to 5. Saturday, June the 23rd, Changing Demographics, 8:15 to 11:15. Sunday, June 24th, 1:45 to 2:45, Rebuild with Us, Federal Local Partnership to Meet Infrastructure Needs. Attendees did not receive credit hours for this class. However, I had a desire to attend for insight. Monday, June 25th was the Ward and Installation Luncheon, 11:30 to 1:30. Monday, June 25th, Employee Benefit 101, Retirement 2:15 to 5:15. Tuesday, June 26th, 8:15 to 11:15, Trends in Urban Design for Local Leaders. In conclusion, I believe this GMA convention is well worth the funds that we, the taxpayers, pay for our elected officials to attend. The networking is good and the classes are excellent. And I believe we need to implement what works best for the city of Grantville. Last but not least, I enjoyed the gathering on July the 3rd. The fireworks were more than fantastic, and I am thankful to the mayor, manager, and council for approving this expenditure for the firework, and many thanks to all of those who volunteered their times and gifts of donation for this worthwhile gathering. Humbly, we thank Chief Whitlock, the police department, committees, churches, pastor, bands, singers, and all for the unity that was displayed in our city. Thank you so much for all that we do together, because together we can be a great, grand lighthouse city. Thank you so much. Mr. Boucher?
I have nothing, thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Mitchell?
I have nothing, thank you.
Since our lawyer has nothing, and our manager, may I entertain a motion to adjourn? Mr. Key has made the motion. I have a second.
Second.
Mr. King seconded. We are adjourned.